Hi everybody, welcome to Video and Arcade Top 10, where playing video games is like eating for us. Absolutely necessary for survival.
Hey everybody, welcome to You, Me, and YTV. Today I have Nicholas Picholas, if that's his real name, and the question on everyone's mind is that your real name? Did you grow up in Canada? Were you alive in the 90s? Did you love YTV? F*** yeah, you did.
It's one of my names.
Okay.
I have something else on my birth certificate, but I would say for the last 30 years, I've gone by the name Nicholas Picholas in broadcasting and stuff like that. So no, I have a ridiculously long, complicated last name, which I'm not going to bore you with, but a Nicholas Picholas kind of rhymes.
And speaking of survival, you'll be battling your way through levels, mazes, minigames, and more.
Let's go back in time, man. Okay, so obviously you're a man with a particular set of skills, much like Liam Neeson. And how did you find your way to becoming the guy of Video and Arcade Top 10? Because, it's you that comes out and gives the high five, let's start the show. Bang!
I didn't start off at that. I started off as one of the extra hosts of the show. So the show had probably 4, warm bodies that were part of the show. Mm-hmm. I started off as like the music guy, because my background, I was working at a radio station in Toronto. I was working at CFNY. And someone that I worked with was then working for the show. And I got a call going, hey, you should audition for this. We need somebody. You'd be good. Music. Let's come in. So I did. And for about the first season, and that was the very first season of Video and Arcade Top 10, I came on for the last maybe 7 episodes. And then something happened maybe in the next season where the main host of the show, who was Gord Wolvett, and Gord's gone off to have a great acting career with Andromeda and stuff like that. He's a great guy. Mm-hmm. He decided he wanted to do this other gig and didn't show up to work. And so I got put into this spot of, that guy's not here, you do it. And it just took off from there. Someone didn't show up, so I went in and I did it. And that's about it. It's a pretty easy start, but I was very lucky and had good friends and just kind of did what was needed. The phrase that we use because I still work in, I do a radio show and I do a lot of stuff. I always tell everybody that's starting, I'm like, just show up. Like, just being there, and not only will you learn stuff, but when you're there, people trust you, or they know, or you've seen how it's done. So your ability to just be in the room and know how things go is invaluable. So you're right. Learn that program, know the language, know the tone of the room, know the tone of the job, know the tone of the task, and you will most likely slide into that spot at some point, either there or on your own somewhere. So, just show up is kind of a big deal.
You see, Bruce and I got a call from Gotham City. Seems there's a bunch of clowns causing a bit of trouble down there in the plaza. Not for long, because we're going to play Batman Returns, Konami's kicking new game for play on Super NES. Are you ready? This is going to be good. Let's go over and meet our 4 Dark Knights.
We were very lucky that we got to sort of ride this technology gap of old school to new school. When we started the show, I don't think anybody had an email. I don't think anybody had, it just, to have a computer at home was a big deal. To be able to go online at home was a big deal. By the end of the show, which the show ended in 2006, everybody had it. Not at the level it is now, but for the most part, your grandpa, everybody had an email, right?
Don't forget, when you're surfing the old internet, drop by our website at videoandarcade.com. That's where you'll find game trading, videos of game action, plus you just might want to join the cyber gaming revolution.
So we got to sort of ride that wave of technology, and same with the video games, went from very rudimentary in this big, great leap forward to, the N64s, and which sounds funny to say that's a great leap forward, but from an original NES or Super NES, wow, what a big change.
On your mark, get set, go! Mario Kart 64 is zooming your way with more tracks, more racers, and a whole lot more fun. Not only do you get to race the race of your life on 20 different courses, but you also get the thrill of ambushing opponents with whatever you can find.
Christmas Eve 1997 was probably one of the best days of my life, getting this system. So I just want to know, as one human to another, considering you saw where technology was going, when you did see Mario 64 for the first time and seeing from a 2-dimensional side-scrolling guy jumping on mushrooms to a back-flipping somersault, 3-dimensional throwing joyride, what was that like? Were you excited to tell everybody about it?
Yeah, excited is kind of the perfect word because we'd get the system and first you're like, wow, mind blown. I can't believe stuff that we're just barely seeing animated in movies and stuff. I can control it.
In this game, you are Fox McCloud, leader of the Star Fox team. It's your job to carefully follow the instructions given to you by General Pepper in order to clear each area.
I have conversations with my friends when drinking very often about how the world almost turned to color, like Dorothy opening up a door to Oz. Like when it came to the SNES or Sega to Nintendo 64 and how big that seemed and how crazy and different everything was.
Your first mission is to free the planet Corneria from the clutches of Andros and his evil army.
Now, you see this guy Andros is a brilliant scientist gone wacko, and he wants to control the Lilat system of planets. So it's up to the Star Fox team to stop him any which way they can.
This changed everything, and I got to tell you, like, the people from Nintendo took it super seriously with the systems that would come, to the point where there would be a security guard, there'd be an executive from the company, and they would, escort in the thing like it was gold bullion, and they would stay with it to the side of the set and watch that nobody copied it, transferred it, duplicated it. It never lost their sight. And that's kind of those times when they brought the new stuff, and even so the new technology they would bring, sometimes they weren't even in card format yet. It was kind of like a little circuit board EEPROM that we'd plug into the system, and they would take those with them because they weren't constructed in a case yet. So we'd have to rig it so that the kids could play it. And the kids would, sometimes get a chance to play it to practice. So they're playing brand new games which aren't released, which, given the timing of when we taped versus street dates, we might get it a couple months ahead of an actual street date. Kids had no idea what they were touching, playing with. Like, they're literally standing, staring at the game going, I don't even know which one I am. And so to explain to the contestants, like, well, the good news is you're playing a brand new game. Bad news is you're probably going to suck at it because you don't know how to play it, which was the reality of our situation of having the kids practice the game. So exciting. Absolutely. I was probably excited every 6 weeks, which is how often we taped, as you were on that Christmas Eve 1997.
Video and Arcade Top 10, it kind of had the energy of like an 80s game show. But at the same time, it was reaching to a younger audience with the rise of popularity in video games in the early 90s. Now the whole world seems to be doing what you guys were doing. Like, esports is one of the biggest things in the world. But back in the day, a few people were scratching their heads saying, why would people want to watch people play video games? But they did, and you knew.
I didn't know. Okay. I liked the show. I liked the games. I liked the energy. I liked people. We didn't have the luxury like stopping to restart or cut was not accepted. So it was whatever guy could barrel through the whole thing, read the script without stopping, you were the guy or the girl. So,
wow. So that's how everyone got the job, basically, whoever could speed read?
For us, it was 70% of what we were doing because timing was everything. If you get to the end of the show and you haven't given away your grand prize, but you're out of time, you have not done a good job.
And my friend, please, can you pick a winner? And he has picked number 4. Brad, what's he taking home?
You'll be rocking to the latest tunes with a $25 gift certificate from HMV.
Nice going, Joseph. Couldn't have done any better myself.
So sometimes the end of the show was super rushed.
Wow.
Because oh, geez, my God, we got a minute and we have to get 3 minutes of stuff in. So we would just rattle through stuff. I learned how to say that address super fast because I got a guy counting me down and I'm looking at the address.
550 Queen Street East Suite 330, Toronto, Ontario, M5A 1V2.
There were times where I'd read the prompter and I'd be like, none of that made sense. I don't even know what the hell I just said, but let's keep rolling. No one yelled cut. So let's keep on partying.
That's super Ron Burgundy of you. Ron Burgundy reads everything on the prompter.
Dude, but that was the job. Let me tell you, I had a very good skill. Sometimes the prompter would go dead or freeze, or rarely it would just disappear. And then the onus is on this guy to just get us to the next segment. And that's why knowing the script somewhat, you'd have to kind of know what your next destination was, what your outwards were, what are we going to next, and be able to get to that without reading the prompter, but be able to fill that time and still hit time. So I did that pretty good.
Color me impressed.
So remember, whether you're clowning around in Gotham City or 5 stories tall with a destruction complex, it all comes down to the same thing. Play the game. Guys, let's play another round.
We had a few directors, but our original director of Video and Arcade Top 10 was a guy named Bill Elliott, whose son is a huge hockey player, Brian Elliott, goalie in the NHL.
Wow.
And so we knew Brian like as a little guy that would come to the set now and then. And to see him now, playing hockey, pretty cool. So Bill was a director. He was also director of the Red Green Show. So he was really good at what he did, and he had a background in game shows. So we were in really good hands as kids in front of a camera.
Wow.
Brandon, how you doing?
Hi.
Good. Who do you want to say hi to?
Friends at St. Margaret's.
Perfect. You are playing with Chris Stafford from St. Lazare, Quebec.
Your name, please?
Justin Middleton.
And who do you want to say hi to today?
Just my family and all my friends.
Cool, your home player is Marlon West of Ajax, Ontario.
Speaking of the kids and stuff like that, were they instructed like not to say anything when they won? Because every time they went to get the ball, there was this paralyzed deer in the headlights look in their eyes. Like, I guess kids are just easily embarrassed about things.
No, we never told them not to talk. I would, if they won something big, the kid would just kind of stand there and stare like, I have no idea.
The red bonus ball, holy moly, take that blindfold off. What number prize do you want, Hugh? Hugh's looking. Number 3 it is, tell the man what he's won.
And it was, so kids that age kind of are generally shy.
Yeah.
You'd get an odd kid that was just like, you knew he was like the class clown or he was the fun kid. But I guess it's a very nerve-wracking situation to be in that on the stage because there's a lot going on. There's people behind the camera pointing. There's literally like the red light on the camera.
But the kids in the audience were all out. Yeah.
Well, Ryan, I'll tell you that the kids in the audience were the next round of kids that were going to play the next session. So it was it was either them or it was them and their siblings and their parents.
It's also funny because I think by season 7, like everyone, it was you and like 4 beautiful women. And for a 10-year-old guy to not only be on camera with a bunch of lights in his face, he's talking to 4 beautiful women. And that must have that would have paralyzed me with fear. I was getting nervous for them, They're like, hey, you won.
You, your home partner, and your studio partner are all taking home the game Star Fox 64.
We did a long taping day. Our day would start at maybe by 8:30 we were pressing record, maybe 8:45. And understand that I'm also a nightclub DJ. So I would work to end of the night, and where I was living, that's 4 a.m. So I'm getting home at 5 a.m. I'm sleeping for about 2 hours, getting in my car. I'm driving an hour to the studio, getting some of this fixed up, and then that high energy, super fast read. So a lot of what you see was a guy on very little sleep. So to feed off that audience and the energy in the audience, absolutely. And I know what you're saying about the kids. The kids were sometimes in a zombie state of just shock and awe and confusion and excited to be on the show. But you're right. For the most part, they kind of look a little catatonic, I think, just out of nerves.
Yeah, and you're just like, show some energy. I slept an hour last night. Be happy about the ball.
And Daniel's got number 7. What's he taking home, Sarah?
Elvis has left the building with you.
Friend, you have won the king, Elvis. Nice work, buddy. Congratulations.
And when the show ended, do you know it was ending beforehand, or did you...
Yeah, we were told it was the final season and this will be it. And it kind of went out without fanfare. It just kind of stopped. Like I remember that last day and feeling relief and melancholy all at the same time because it was a lot. But I loved doing the show. It was a physical drain, like to do that many shows in one day. And I would say by the end of, we were maybe doing 7 and sometimes 8 episodes on a taping day, and it was a lot. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of talking, and that fast reading that we would do with the teleprompter. I do TV now, so I work at the NBC affiliate here, and they're like, "Oh wow, you're really good at the prompter." I'm like, "You have no idea what I've done. Like I feel like I've been overseas in the war." doing live TV like that. So,
I've seen some shit.
Dear Video and Arcade Top 10, I recently bought an N64. Since then, I've been watching your show, and I think you guys are doing a great job. Your prizes are great, and someday I hope to be a contestant. Well, we hope that you come on the show, bud. Thanks for taking the time to write in. Just for getting your letter on the air, you're going to get a copy of one of the games we played on BNA today. That means Mario Kart 64 or Star Fox 64 is coming your way for your new system. Way to go, bud.
Your show mattered to a lot of people I know, man. Like, you know that.
I understand that now more than ever. I've gone to a few game cons, and what blows me away is that a lot of current game developers grew up watching our show, and it guided them down that game developer path because it's what they were attracted to. It's what they liked. So that feels good to me. And for some reason, I know a lot of sports writers. I work with professional sports, and so I'll run into writers from around North America, and they'll stare at me and they go, "Wait a minute, I know you." And I just had that moment a couple weeks ago of, someone that grew up watching the show. I was introducing a band out of London or Toronto now called Loud Luxury, and, EDM, cheat codes kind of band. I'm on the side of the stage. I'm about to bring them out on stage, and the one kid from the band staring at me, and I get this kind of, "Oh my God, YTV." And I'm like, "Dude, you're about to go on there for 15,000 people. Focus." And it's funny when things pop up. And so I do live in the States. The show wasn't on in the States. No one here has a clue that I did this thing. I go to Canada, and I get the weird, if you're 30 years old and you're walking through IKEA and you see YTV guy walk by, you're going to give me a weird look. And I see it all the time. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're just trying to picture you with a little bit more hair in the back here and some 90s shining shirts.
Dude, I still have all those shirts. I won't kid you. I still wear them. They're awesome. And I got to tell you, so one other thing, all the people that worked behind the scenes on the show, the producers, everybody kind of went on to do something pretty impressive. We had aggressively interested, dynamic staff on the show, from directors to producers to line producers to people that would wrangle the audience. And I still talk to a lot of them just because they were good people. So it was for me, that was a very special show. I've worked on a bunch of different projects and shows. This one was very special, and it had such a connection. As you said, a lot of people watched it. It meant a lot to a lot of kids. The viewership numbers would blow me away. I didn't want to know them at some point because they'll be like, "Oh, we hit this many," whatever the numbers were. And I'm just like, that's ridiculous. How can that be? Anyhow, it was really impressive at that time. So I get that it's in the past, but it's kind of nice to relive it. And thanks for giving me the opportunity, Ryan.
I don't want to be a dick, so I really got to read at least some of these fan questions. What are some of your favorite video games? I mean, you talked about them all the time, so there must be some.
Check out more episodes of You, Me, and YTV on Facebook and YouTube. Sweet one-of-a-kind interviews with PJ Fresh Phil, PJ Paul, Tarzan Dan, the cast of Student Bodies, the voice acting cast of Sailor Moon, and much, much more. Exclusively on You, Me, and YTV. Season 2.